Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV. What do Trump supporters think should happen when people are trying to cross the border? Well, thankfully in this case, we can turn to Rebel HQ's Emma Vigeland, who's previously appeared on the show. She was at a Trump rally in Mesa, Arizona, and here is a little interaction she had with a Trump supporter.
What would solve the whole thing in the border if they would just start shooting? Only shoot a couple, and they would go home.
You think deterrence would work?
If they would shoot.
I really feel like if the people from Mexico would come here and emerge into the American culture, but they really, I see it, they want to make America part of Mexico. And I'm opposed to that.
I would love the demographics to change if they came here legally. It would be fine. I'd welcome them. Yeah, I'd welcome them. We have to keep track of everybody coming in here to avoid another 9/11. You can't just let people run across border. So I'd welcome them. I'd love to help them. I'd love to hire them if they came here legally.
9/11, they were just Saudi Arabians coming, not through immigration, but
It's the whole policy that's the problem.
No one that I know that supports Trump wants that division. I think that Tucker Carlson takes a really, edgy stance on things in order to, rile up a crowd generally, and people like to watch that.
In 2018, white supremacy is edgy. I guess, I don't know. Wow, man. Look, if you don't already follow Rebel HQ and Emma's videos, it is amazing. She, like every week, she puts herself into those environments. She talks to people. She's so level-headed. When that guy said they should start shooting people, she kept it cool. Like, God help us if Emma Vigeland ever starts playing poker. We're doomed. But I want to respond to some of the things that were said there. So obviously the worst was they should just start shooting. They should just start shooting a few and that'll scare people off. And she referred to it as deterrence, I think, to not scare him off. But what he is talking about is murdering people who are exercising fully legal international rights to apply for asylum. So I just want to reiterate that in case there's been so much deception and lies coming out of the right. Applying for asylum is not illegal. It is not in any way illegal. It is not in any way a circumvention of US laws. We have asylum laws in the US and internationally for exactly this sort of situation. People leaving war-torn, violent countries to come and legally integrate into our country. That is what these people are potentially looking for. That is in the vast majority of cases, whether with this caravan or a different caravan or outside of all of the caravans, that is what they're doing. You have the legal right to apply for asylum. Now, most of the people in that crowd probably are not aware of that, and that is why they turn to just start gunning them down. That is not actually legal. That, I'm assuming, would be war crimes, and hopefully we would have some sort of consequences for that. And by the way, it also reminds me of something else. I don't know if you've been listening to this show long enough to know when we were reading excerpts from the old French racist novel, Camp of the Saints, that Steve Bannon and many in the Trump administration seem to think is like the new Ayn Rand. That is what you're supposed to base your political philosophy on. And I'm not gonna read you the whole thing again or anything like that, but you should understand that it is an old white supremacist novel about people in Europe needing to stand up against this tide of migrants coming from India and Africa and the Middle East. And when these huge masses of people in a gigantic caravan of 600,000 people or more start to cross the Mediterranean, good Europeans need to get on the beaches and start mowing people down with machine guns. And again, that is the book Steve Bannon lauds as awesome. And Tucker Carlson, by the way, has had on guests talking about how awesome Camp of the Saints is. Do you really think that on the right, they're not thinking of Camp of the Saints when they're talking about these caravans, when they're talking about stopping these people at the border? Do you think they're not actually motivated by the same sort of white supremacist, pro-violent, pro-murder stance? Tucker Carlson certainly is. He's very much familiar with that. And so it starts to sort of filter down through the ranks, and you get Trump supporters saying we should literally kill these people. Now, thankfully, I don't think that that's the majority opinion amongst Trump supporters. You have other people, like the woman that Emma talked to, who said she would be okay with it if people from Mexico and these other countries would just integrate into American society and culture. Instead, they want to turn it into Mexico. What is that based on? Honestly, is that based on interviews with people in the caravan? Is that them saying that they want, like Texas, it needs to be reclaimed for Mexico? Is that actually a position that these people hold? No, no. And if it was, it would be something that we would battle out in our culture. But what has actually been the experience in America across so many different immigrant groups coming in over the years? It has generally been an improvement of both communities, like sort of reinvigorating of our culture by the inclusion of new elements of food and politics, thought, music, art, all of that. That is what actually happens. And yet, now and at every step along the way, we have been horrified at the prospect that this historical pattern will not continue. It's always different in the present. Sure, all of those other groups integrated in and we're better for it, but not this time. This time we should be scared. And so you're seeing that play out in real time here. So thank you to Emma for the 9/11 thing. Thankfully, she already addressed it. It's absolutely ridiculous. He seems to think that 9/11 was perpetrated by Mexicans who crossed the border or Saudi Arabians who crossed the border. And that same guy, by the way, who is so terrified by these Saudi terrorists, do you think he is pushing for Trump to do something about the murder of Jamal Khashoggi? Probably not. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.